Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Divine Providence. This is episode 22 of the show. We have a new intro. We had to change the old one thanks to a former player that we're not going to talk about today. But he was in the video, so we had to change that out with the old, in with the new. And things are looking up here in Friartown. We had a big day yesterday for, all that were involved in what was going on. We got 3 commitments yesterday. So just a great day for the portal. Gentlemen, how are we feeling today?
The vibes are high. It's Portal Combat. Soon comes season. It's exciting time to be a Friar fan.
What a great day to be a Friar fan. I was thinking this might be the biggest recruiting day in Providence College basketball history.
I can't think of another one. I can't think of one that's even really close. I don't think we've ever had multiple portal gets in one day. We've probably never had more than one high school recruit in one day. So this was just, we're head over heels yesterday for what was going on. It all started the night before. So if you're kind of privy to what was going on with Jason Edwards, Vanderbilt elite score, 17 points per game at Vandy. They were a tournament team last year. Jason Edwards was going to commit on Friday night. So that was, Thursday night. I got my days mixed up. Thursday night. But he had a little snag with admissions. So it almost didn't get done, but they pulled some strings over there. I guess there was like a transcript issue. This is a kid that had a 4.0 GPA at Vanderbilt. So I don't exactly know what the issue was, but it all started there. I'm sure you guys watched some highlights on Edwards. How do we feel about that one?
This guy's a bucket getter. I was saying to someone the other day, the SEC just had a historically good season, like arguably the best season any conference has ever had. And you look at the top scorers in that conference this year, Jason Edwards is right up there with some guys that are going to be in the NBA next year. He can score the ball and I think can make his own shot, which is going to be important if, come November, we see an offense where you're at the late in the shot clock and need to get a shot off. And he's just a bucket getter. And he's probably the one I'm most excited about that we landed yesterday.
Yeah, no, I agree. Eduardo, what's your scouting report on Mr. Edwards?
Like what Max said, kid can flat out score. 17 points, not even that much minutes. Only played like 25 minutes a game, especially in the SEC. Just probably one of the best scorers in the portal, and we just snagged him. So it was a great get by Kim. A little concerned about his defense and size, but when you get a guy that can score so well, I don't really think that matters that much. So just a great get by Kim.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's finally nice to have someone who you can get the ball to, and he'll completely independently create his own shot. I think that, Corey Floyd, we saw a little bit of that last year, but he's not like Corey's not going to be a number one scoring option on a tournament team. Like, he's a good player. He should start, in my opinion, but he's not the guy you can just give the ball to and just not worry about it, like Devin Carter. So I think that it's really refreshing and nice to just be able to, like Max said, like in an offense where maybe you might find yourself, okay, there's 4 seconds left on the shot clock. We got to just kind of do something. If Edwards has the ball, you feel pretty good about it, just like you did with Devin Carter. So I think that Kim needs that because sometimes the offense does look a little stagnant.
Another thing that is, I think, promising, I'm actually not sure the specific ruling off the top of my head, but he only has 2 seasons of Division I basketball under his belt. Mm-hmm. But I believe he has a year of junior college under his belt as well. I'm not sure what the ruling on that is, but if this is a guy you can have for 2 years, that's just another plus to a guy we just spent a few minutes raving about how great of a scorer he is.
Definitely. I mean, he has 2 years of eligibility. That is confirmed.
Okay.
Whether or not he can, whether he's going to stay the 2 years, at PC, that'll obviously depend on what we offer him next year and how well he does this year. But you do have to love that. I think that both guards that we got Daquan Davis, and then we got Jason Edwards. That could be your backcourt, the following year, right? Starting backcourt. Not looking ahead too far, but I mean, yeah, you do have to love that and the idea of him. I mean, this guy, hopefully he's going to take a step, right? A little step forward, different competition, Big East. I wouldn't say it's better or worse. I would say it's just different. And I think that he really could, average 20 points per game. He's an NBA level scorer for sure. So, really excited about him. Anything else you want to add about Jason Edwards, Eduardo, or Mac?
I'm not a takes guy. I want that in writing. I'm not a takes guy. But you throwing out the idea that he could average 20 points a game, it's April 5th we're recording, 2025. Sneaky preseason Big East Player of the Year candidate. That's a wild statement. I understand that. But if the guy can average 20 a game, he's going to be in the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Big East next year, it really, I think that they lost a lot of talent, a lot of elite level talent. It's wide open. I think maybe like if Sorber comes back, he's definitely a candidate. I don't think he's going to come back. UConn got Silas Demery. He's a candidate, but Jason Edwards is certainly a candidate. Offensively, he'll be right up there. I mean, he was third team All SEC in what was, like you said, probably the best conference in NCAA history this past year. So, I mean, that's nothing to shake a stick at. That's really, really solid. It just, hopefully he can fit in well and play up, a huge role and have success here.
Well said.
One thing I'm going to add too is I think it's going to be interesting how he's used in the offense because looking at his stats, he only had 1 assist last year, and he's kind of a smaller guard. So depending on whether Kim wants him on ball all the time or off ball, I think it's going to be pretty interesting to look at.
Yeah, that is interesting. He is not like a big time passer, but I would say he's probably going to end up being like a little bit of a Bryce Cotton type in the sense that like if he needs to pass, he will. If he's getting the ball a lot, then he will distribute. I'm sure he has it in him. It just comes down to if he needs to play that role.
The backcourt's interesting to me as it's starting to fill out because, we're going to talk about Jaylen Sellers as well, who committed yesterday. But, Eduardo, you mentioned a guy who's not really known for distributing the ball. Sellers, I feel like, is more of a bigger combo guard, probably going to run a little bit more of the two. But you bring in Daquan Davis, who is a solid distributor of the ball and probably like a more of a pure point guard. But he's also on the younger side. So it's going to be interesting to see how those 3 guards that we've landed the last, 3 or 4 days, how they're all kind of going to gel together in that offense.
Yeah, and having Daquan and Edwards just together, they're both 2 small guards, so I wonder how much playing time they're going to get together on the court at the same time.
Do you think we're – because, you even saw it with, like, JP and Bensley last year, the smaller guards, and then, you mentioned Edwards, Daquan. I feel like we're starting to – maybe it's just English's philosophy, but prioritize defense a little less and, like, not the Friar teams you're used to. Obviously, the, high-octane offense is a phrase that's been thrown around. But I don't know. It feels weird looking at a Friars team and saying like that's an offensive minded team as opposed to defense.
Yeah, no, I agree. We've always been a defensive team, and Kim had always prided himself on defense and intense defense. So I think that it's not out of the realm to think that we still could be a pretty good defensive team, but it's certainly not something we're emphasizing in the portal. So we'll see. I mean, we really come down to defense. A lot of it is just kind of will. Do you want to play D? And are you athletic enough to keep up? So, yeah, I mean, I agree though, for sure. So moving on, we got Jaylen Sellers was next, or technically actually Vox, Stefan Vox.
Yep, Vox was next.
Yeah. Now we talked about him a little bit last episode because we had heard, through the grapevine that he was coming here. So that was cool that we got the official commitment. But this is something that we kind of had our eyes on and we're expecting for a little under a week. Vox is a good player. He got first team in the Euro. He can shoot. He can pass. He can dribble. Obviously worried about his defense. And he's also just kind of an unknown. Like, people making mock lineups, like putting him in the starting lineup. I think that's pretty unrealistic to expect. It's not impossible at some point for him to start. I just don't think he'll start right away. If he is, then it probably means there was like an injury or something.
Yeah, I mean, you look at him, he's one of the top European prospects, and it's easy to get excited. I was excited the other day when we were talking about it. Like, Vox up. What's your Vox status? Like, but the more I think over it, the guy's young. It's easy to get excited because it's like, oh, he's coming from overseas, like he's killing it over there. But he's young, and this backcourt is loaded in terms of just number of bodies. So as excited as I am to see what he can be, the minutes, I think, there's not as many minutes to go around as there seems to be. And like, you're like you talked about mock lineups, like there's going to be some mouths to feed, especially with the guys we just landed. So I don't know. I don't think freshman year, I would go into it with sky high expectations for Vox.
No, I agree. Probably like 13, 14 minutes a game, something along those lines. Then obviously he has the opportunity to increase that and, maybe go up to 20, 25. I mean, this is all speculation, but just from like, if he does end up playing his way into like starter level minutes or sixth man minutes, then, it won't be right away. Like, obviously it's going to be like January, February, maybe end the season. And then sophomore year, then you could see him starting. But this is more like of a 3-year plan for him. And I think he picked the school that he wants to be at, for multiple years. Like, he's not going to hop around. He's not going to bag chase. He didn't take the highest offer. He took the offer from the school where he thought he was going to play and where he, will play in front of fans. And that's why it really is important. I mean, that was clearly a thing that factored into his decision. I mean, PC is the best of both worlds, where you're not in a major city and you're not like in a fishbowl, right, with like huge media market, but the crowd, like fans, still sell out almost every game, at least in the Big East. So I think that if you're coming over from Estonia, right, and you don't know anything, I think that PC would be a relatively good sell for these kids, So I think he made the right call. I don't know how much he's getting, but I'm sure it can't be too much.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously we're biased, so we're obviously going to say he made the right choice. No doubt about it. But there is something to be said for him taking less money. Kim's talked about wanting guys that want to be Friars. Like, you want to be here. And obviously we have had our experiences with bag chasers, so to speak, in the last few months. But yeah, there's something to be said for a guy who clearly has taken a lower offer and genuinely wants to be a Friar. So yeah, this is one of those guys. He's clearly going to be proud to be in black and silver.
Yeah, we're fired up to have him.
Very fired up and vaxxed up.
Vaxxed up. Yep. Eduardo, any thoughts on the vaccine, the vaccinator?
The Vox. Well, I just want to go back to the EuroLeague first team. So I did some research on some of those players. There's multiple people on that list that are going in first round mocks right now in the NBA draft. So it's like he's in some good company, and plus he's in the first team. So I expect him to be a contributor day one.
And I mean, if the guy's skill set is he can shoot, like we'll talk about it up and down. If he can shoot the ball, you're made in a lab for Kim English. You want to be a Friar, you can shoot the ball. So my only concern is just finding minutes for him early on. Like he's still young, and I know Sellers and Edwards as older guys probably aren't coming here expecting a chunk of their minutes taken out. Like there's going to be some mouths to feed, and I think Vox, as a freshman might fall victim to that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, whether or not his role on the court during the games is going to be big or not, I mean, you want to talk about this team and the talent on this team and talking about practice, like just iron sharpening iron. I mean, this roster is really, really impressive from top to bottom. I'm not saying they're the best team in the Big East, but they have I'm not trying to, have a repeat from last year, the whole 13 dudes thing, because that didn't work out at all. But man, they really are loaded from top to bottom with talent. I mean, Jameer Jones, Jalen Harrell, Ryan Mila, Corey Floyd, all these transfers that we've gotten. You add in Vox. I mean, whoever else. I mean, this is a really, really good basketball team just from top to bottom. Now, will it work? Will it translate? That remains to be seen. I mean, that comes down to pretty much Kim and the coaching staff, but you definitely got to be excited just about the overall talent on this team. So next we got Jaylen Sellers. Now Sellers was the one that we were linked to for a few days, and he was kind of deciding between Illinois and Providence. And for a while, I had heard he was definitely going to Illinois. Then when we got Edwards, and I was hearing Edwards was going to commit. Then I was like, okay, there's no way we're going after Sellers too. And now I was like, you get Sellers on top of Jason Edwards, and it's almost like a little bit of an embarrassment of riches in the guard spot, because I mean these are two players that, I mean, Jaylen Sellers, last time he played a full season, he averaged 16 points per game in the Big 12. So, I mean, you have one guy who's averaging 17 in the SEC in a record year in the SEC. Another guy who's averaging 16 in the Big 12, which is a tough conference to score the ball in. Whether it's good, bad, doesn't matter. It's tough to score the ball. And, I mean, you put those two together at the guard position, and it really is exciting. To be honest, I don't know really much about Sellers because he didn't really play all that much last year. He kind of Bryce Hopkins'd UCF. So maybe that's a little bit of a concern. That would be maybe his only downside. But nonetheless, I am really excited about him if he's healthy and he plays.
One thing, you mentioned obviously he's last full healthy season, he averaged 16 in the Big 12. I like that this year it seems like these transfer targets are proven entities as opposed to trying to find hidden gems from mid-majors and hoping they pan out. Like Wes Cardette from Chicago State, Kreese from St. Joe's. You bring in a guy from UCF and Jaylen Sellers, a guy from Vanderbilt, sorry,
Vanderbilt.
slipped from me.
Yep.
Yeah, and Jason Edwards.
Oh, yeah.
Daquan Davis from Florida State. Like, you're bringing in these, maybe not as much Daquan Davis, but these guys who have proven that they can be elite in power conferences. And the Big 12 is pretty similar, probably the closest thing to the Big East as far as power conferences. It's physical, hard to score the ball. And he's a 6'4" guard. So, I mean, do we think, I want your guys' takes on this, did we just get our starting backcourt yesterday? Did we go to sleep Thursday with 0 starting guards and go to bed with 2?
I would personally say yes. I don't know how Eduardo feels about that, but I would say yes.
I agree as well.
The only thing that I was thinking was if we got Edwards, who is an elite scorer, and then we added, say, Reed Bailey, who's an elite scorer, then I could have saw Daquan Davis being the starting point guard. And I'm not saying I would have been ecstatic about that, but based on the rest of the lineup, that's a really solid, 2 through 5. And then maybe your weak spot is the point guard spot. But now, that's not even an option. There's no pathway for Daquan Davis to start unless you boot out Corey Floyd, which is just simply not going to happen.
Yep.
At least to start the year. So Daquan, and he probably never was going to start. According to what I've read, he was okay with accepting a backup position for this year. He's going to get a ton of minutes, but he's not going to be a starter. So, I am looking forward to having 2 really, really solid scoring guards. Something we haven't had in a really long time. We had 2 years ago, we had Pierre and Devin Carter. Obviously, Devin was phenomenal. Jaden Pierre was okay that year. Last year it was Bensley and Jaden Pierre. I mean, Bensley was good. Jaden Pierre, I was all set with him, but I wish him the best, But now you have 2 really elite scoring guards. So, yeah, definitely excited for sure.
I think the next obvious area of priority is bigs. I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of mouths to feed in the backcourt, but the front court is as great as I think Sellers is. I saw we landed him, and I wanted to be excited, but I was I thought to myself, all right, we have so many guards. What is the plan of attack here? I was almost, I don't know. From here on out, it should only be bigs, right? As far as going forward.
Yeah, I mean, don't sleep on the fact that when Kim played at Missouri, they played mostly a 4 guard set, and then what they would do is they would have a defensive anchor. So if Oswin is your defensive anchor, that 4 spot, if you really want to get creative, doesn't necessarily need to be a traditional power forward. I mean, the power forward position is kind of dying as it is anyways. But you could say Jabri comes back, you might be able to play 3 guards, Jabri and Oswin. Plus don't forget, I mean, you have some size and physicality with Corey Floyd. So I mean, it's not like you're starting 3 guards that are 6 feet. You have Corey, you have Jabri. I could also see Jameer Jones filling that spot as well. I don't think that would be the ideal route, but if it doesn't work out with a big man like Alvaro or Reed Bailey, Duncan Powell just went to Georgetown, so he's out. So if it doesn't work out with one of those guys that we're looking at, or the guy from Alabama, Mo, right? I know that's your guy, Mac.
Yep,
then I would probably just rather roll with either Jabri or Jameer at that spot.
Jabri is an interesting one as well because, and I feel like I'm only bringing bad vibes right now. this is a great day in PC recruiting, and I feel like I'm only bringing bad vibes and concerns, but I think they're warranted questions. We talked about the Jabri waiver last episode. And as it stands, PC has 12 players on their roster, only 2 of which are big men. And obviously, big man depth has been a concern the past couple of years for us. Having 3 roster spots to go to fill out and very little big man depth, I feel like that's almost a sign that, unfortunately, like I don't think the waiver is going to pan out the way we want it to.
That's possible.
That's what I've been led to believe.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't really think Jabri has much of a case, unfortunately. Like, if I were the NCAA, I would say, yeah, hey, like you had a tragic death in your family, you got hurt at the end of the year. I mean, those 2 factors, like, yeah, come on back, But I could understand them not wanting to set that precedent because of the NIL. Like, people are going to really kind of scheme the system to get more money. Now, if there was no money involved, like I would say he has a better chance. But when there's money on the table, people are going to take advantage of the system. It's just how it is. So, yeah, I do agree. I don't think that Jabri coming back is the most likely scenario. It's not. We haven't heard no yet. So,
yeah,
staying hopeful we do hear, officially. So,
yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, we go out and get 2 bigs, a Reed Bailey, a Mo Diabate, Alvaro, and then, that final spot you get, Jabri, who's a wing who can shoot it. But I don't know. It just feels the more guys we bring in, as exciting as it is, the less likely the waiver comes to fruition. But yeah, you're right about setting the precedent as well.
Yeah, Eduardo, is there anyone that you would like to see them bring in specifically with the portal kind of? I don't want to say winding down, but I mean we've gotten 5 guys. So is there anyone else you want?
Well, I think you guys nailed it. I think we need some size. Specifically, I would like Reed Bailey, but I don't know what the NIL situation is on him. I don't know. I don't even know how much money we have left. We probably spent millions yesterday. So, but we definitely need to bring in some size because looking at the roster is just tallest guy's 6'9". So really need to bolster the front court.
Can we address the Devin Carter tweet? Because seeing that, I was like, okay, we're going to get 3 recruits today, but instead of Jaylen Sellers, it's going to be Reed Bailey. Like, as far as the timeline went, it was Jason Edwards commits, Stefan Vox commits within like a 10-minute span, and then out of left field, Devin Carter tweets at Reed Bailey, like, just announce it already. So obviously, like, PCBC is going to take that and run with it and go nuts over it. So it felt imminent. Like, Devin Carter wasn't going to tweet that for no reason. But now it's kind of sounding like Reed Bailey's a little bit of a long shot. But I would assume, I mean, I'd be fired up if we got Reed Bailey. I feel like he'd fit in perfectly. New England kid. But there's got to be some sort of legitimacy to Devin Carter wouldn't just take out his phone for no reason and be like, all right, hey, Reed Bailey, just make the announcement already. Or maybe he would, actually. I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, some of the things with Bailey is a little weird. The Devin Carter tweet obviously was super weird. Everything about it has been super hush-hush. Like, no one knows anything about, like, Reed Bailey, where he's going. It's all very, very under wraps. I will also say that Reed Bailey is one of the only portal targets, so to speak, if you consider him a target. We don't know that PC's targeting him. We assume. But he's one of the only portal targets that Steve Napillo did follow on Twitter. So, it is interesting to me. I think he fits absolutely perfectly. I do think that we are probably running out of money at some point, or soon. Like, I'm sure we can make it work if he wants to come here. But if we're in a bidding war with, say, Kentucky, like they're gonna pay whatever, and we're probably gonna get priced out. But it also depends on the role that like a high major would want Reed Bailey in. So like the role here would be he'd be a starter, play the 4, might be the best player on the team, or maybe one of the second best player on the team, right? So yeah, I think that it's possible. I think he'd be perfect. More people that I've talked to in PC circles are more high on the kid from Robert Morris, Alvaro. I don't even know his first name, but I was watching highlights of him, and he's a very good player. I probably would prefer Bailey, but this is I don't really know too much about Alvaro, so I would say either one of those guys would be phenomenal. I don't know where you go from there. If, say, it doesn't work out with one of those like marquee power forwards, maybe you just go depth and you do ride with like, the 4-guard thing, or, I don't want to say start Cole Hargrove. I think that's a bad idea because he's more of a 5, but, that would be theoretically a possibility. And you also need another center too. So like, kind of like someone like a Bonk role, another center, another big man. So there's work to be done for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely work to be done. And the issue with, running a lineup out there with Hargrove and Oswin is, whether you want Hargrove playing the 4 or not, who's coming off the bench as far as big men are concerned. Like there's, that's why you need to address depth. Kreese and Bonk didn't work out last year as backup centers. Rafael Castro, love him or hate him, didn't pan out for PC. And we saw this past season, Oswin can get in foul trouble early. Conditioning might be an issue. Like you need big man depth to be able to compete in the Big East. And that's, I think, the one, like, just address that one thing and I'm all the way in.
Yeah. No, I agree. You need someone who knows their role, isn't going to complain when they don't get starter minutes. Like, Carson DeRozier's type. I think Cole Hargrove fits that, but you can't just roll with one guy. You need another one. So, someone mentioned Bonk, maybe, as a possibility coming back. I don't think that probably would be a good fit because he wants a lot of money, and they're probably not going to want to pay a lot of money for that spot. But he's like perfect. He's got some upside. He's comfortable. He knows the system. Kim recruited him. But I think he wants more than what we're probably willing to pay for that position.
Yeah, I mean, I like Bonk's potential, but if you're going to give him a pay raise after last year, I think I'm out fully. Like, love what he could be. Seems like a great kid, but if you're asking for a pay raise, I don't see it.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Jesus, fucking dog is all over me.
Happy Ween Saturday.
Yep, it's Ween Saturday. Anything else you guys want? I mean, this was kind of just going to be an episode talking about gets. It was get day yesterday. # get day. And maybe talking about some targets. Right now, I don't really know who we are or / should be targeting besides, the obvious ones, the 4s. So, anyone else of interest that you guys may want to see Kim try to go after while, this portal season here?
If we land Mo Diabate, I'll pull an avid mindsetter.
You're going to post Hog.
The nub.
Okay.
The Irish nub if we land Mo Diabate.
You still probably have Avid beat, though.
I don't know, man. The Irish heritage? I'm not sure.
No, Mo would be sick. How many years of eligibility does Mo have?
I believe he's a rising senior. Let me pull that up. Okay, so he's a sophomore currently, so he would be a junior. So he'd have 2 years of eligibility.
Oswin needs to get recruiting. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
On Mo?
Yeah, they played in high school together.
Okay. I actually didn't even know that. He went to Putnam, or did they play for the same AAU team?
Putnam.
Okay.
So he's got to be.
That would be a huge get. Sorry, what were you saying, Leb?
Mo's got to be like a sophomore or a junior, right? Then, because I don't think Oswin spent more than 2 years at Putnam.
Yeah, he's currently a sophomore, rising junior. So he'd have 2 years of eligibility.
Okay, cool. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, get Oswin on the phone, man. I mean, I'll tell you what, if I'm Oswin, I'm pretty happy right now. Like, PC gave you the money you want. You're basically like the guy returning. I know Corey Floyd obviously is the captain, quote unquote, but like, I think Corey is a good player. But I think Oswin can be a great player here, and they're loading talent around him. So you got to be pretty happy if you're Big O.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and put yourself in Oswin's shoes. Like, someone said something the other day, like Corey Floyd's face is going to be plastered all over the city of Providence. Any like Friars promo stuff you see, it's going to have Corey Floyd on it. He's the senior leader. Obviously the longest tenured player on the team. Once Corey Floyd graduates, that's probably more than likely Oswin's role. Like, he's in a good spot. I think, was it Sellers or Council that he was adamant about wanting to join the team?
It was reportedly Council.
Okay.
So
never mind. I was going to say, because obviously they landed Sellers, but yeah, I agree.
I doubt that we'll go after another point guard, but honestly, with how this portal is kind of shaped out, I wouldn't be like crazy shocked if we get a point guard and go with point guard, Sellers, Edwards, Floyd, Oswin to start. For start. I wouldn't be necessarily surprised. That's basically what they did at Missouri when Kim played there. And that was a good team.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think I would just be a little nervous going into the season just because of how physical the Big East is. You obviously want size. But yeah, I mean, a 4-wing, 1 big lineup isn't crazy at all, especially in college.
Yeah. It really is such an overcorrection though from Kim. Like last year we got all, a bunch of 7-footers and just specimens from like mid-majors or low-level schools, Bonk, Creased, Cardet. This year we got basically stars from high major teams, So
yeah, they're all 6'4" and under.
Yeah, and they're small, right? That's what. I forgot. I left that part out. Yeah, they're small, and it's an overcorrection. Hey, if it doesn't work, right, correct it. So you gotta like it. I mean,
yeah, they're definitely taking a different approach this year, I think, as far as their targets.
For sure, faux show. Anything else you guys got? I know it's supposed to be kind of a quick one, so if you,
yeah, I am all set. It was a big recruiting day for the Friars, and let's see what the roster looks like fully loaded.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll keep pumping them out as we get guys and more gets. So, watch out for more episodes. If you see an episode, that means probably something good happened. So go Friars. And Eduardo, you got anything you want to add as a send off?
Those 3 commits happened on 4-4. Shout out Isaiah Jackson, 44 blessed.
44. We were 44 blessed yesterday.
Leb, throw up the 4s. Hashtag 44 blessed.
Gang. All right. Yeah. So go Friars. Let's get a 4. Let's get another 4. 44 blessed. Power forward. Give me a
Let's do
4.
Oh, I love
All
it.
right. Yep. All right.
Go Friars.
Peace.